The silver shuttle moved quietly through the soft blue clouds of Aloon as Lieutenant Marcus Hale sat pressed against the window. He watched tall crystal towers rise from the ground like shining rivers frozen in mid-flow. Aloon was famous across the galaxy for its beauty, but Marcus was too nervous to enjoy it. He was part of humanity's first official diplomatic team, and every officer had been trained for months for this moment. But Marcus knew something else. He had a habit of thinking too much. Loud thoughts. Random thoughts. Thoughts that jumped around like restless birds. And today, he was meeting a species that could sense emotions and surface thoughts. "Relax," Captain Reyes whispered beside him. "The Illyrians only read what you allow them to read." Marcus tried to relax, but his heart beat faster. He hoped all those human mind discipline lessons would be enough. The shuttle landed on a soft, glowing platform. A warm breeze touched Marcus's face as the doors opened. The alien city smelled like fresh rain and a hint of something sweet. Waiting for them stood a group of Illyrians, tall, elegant beings with smooth skin that glowed faintly under the sunlight. Their eyes looked like polished glass, and their movements were calm, almost like gentle waves. One Illyrian stepped forward and bowed. "Welcome, humans. I am Ceres of the Crystal Court. I will serve as your emotional interpreter." Her voice sounded like wind chimes. Marcus bowed awkwardly in return. Ceres studied the human group with curious eyes. She paused when she reached Marcus, tilting her head slightly. "You have a strong emotional field," she said softly. "Very bright. It will be interesting to understand." Marcus felt his stomach twist. Interesting was never a good word when it came to his thoughts. Ceres lifted her hand. A soft blue glow appeared around her fingers. "For the demonstration, I will form a short mind bridge with one human volunteer. Only surface emotions. Only surface thoughts. Nothing deeper." Captain Reyes gently pushed Marcus forward. "Lieutenant Hale trained for this. He'll be perfect." Marcus wanted to sink into the ground. Ceres gave a kind smile. "Do not fear. You will feel only a light pressure. I will guide you." Marcus nodded stiffly. The other humans stepped back as Ceres closed her eyes. A faint ring of light appeared around both of them as the mind bridge activated. For a moment, everything was peaceful. Marcus felt a strange warmth, like someone gently sorting his emotions. His nervousness, curiosity, and excitement floated like small, glowing bubbles. Ceres examined each one carefully, her glow remaining calm and steady. But then something changed. Ceres reached a little deeper, only a little, trying to see the shape of human thoughts. And Marcus's brain, being a typical human brain, responded in the worst possible way. 1,000 small thoughts appeared at once. Random. Fast. Completely unfiltered. Did I leave my room lights on? What a weird smell. Did I brush my teeth twice today, or only once? I hope I didn't mess up. Don't think nervous thoughts. Wait. Now I'm thinking about not thinking about nervous thoughts. Why am I like this? This is awkward. Oh no. She can probably sense all of this. Stop thinking. Stop thinking. Why is that tower shaped like a fork? Ceres's eyes snapped open. Her glowing skin turned a bright, bright red. The entire Illyrian greeting council gasped. The color red meant only one thing in their culture: complete shock, mixed with confusion. Marcus felt panic rise. Did I do something wrong? Ceres stepped back, placing a hand over her forehead. Your mind. It has too much movement, too many directions, too many colors. Her voice shook, not with anger, but with absolute surprise. I have never sensed a mind so alive. Marcus wanted to disappear. I'm sorry, he whispered. My thoughts just do that sometimes. The other Illyrians began whispering among themselves. He has no mental barriers. Impossible. Even younglings have stable patterns. How does he stand it? How does he function with such noise? Marcus's cheeks burned. He wished he could explain that for humans, loud, chaotic thoughts were normal. Everyday life. Captain Reyes stepped forward quickly. Is Lieutenant Hale harmed? Saris shook her head. No. I am fine. Simply overwhelmed. Human thought streams are unlike anything I have ever experienced. She looked at Marcus again, her red color slowly fading to soft pink. Your mind jumps between ideas at great speed. It holds emotion, logic, imagination, and memory at the same time. There is little order, but also great creativity. Marcus blinked. Creativity? Yes, Sarah said. In most species, thoughts travel in single paths, like water flowing down a river. But humans... She touched her temple lightly. Your thoughts are storms. They expand outward in many directions. It is difficult to follow, but very bright, very powerful. The Illyrian council members stared at Marcus with new interest. Some looked impressed. Others seemed wary. Marcus stood frozen, unsure whether to feel proud or embarrassed. Saris stepped closer again, calmer now. Lieutenant Hale, I would like to try once more. A smaller link. I believe I can understand your emotional structure better if we go slowly. Marcus nodded weakly. Okay. I'll try not to think too hard. Saris gave a soft laugh. Trying not to think causes more thoughts in humans. Does it not? Marcus felt his face turn red this time. Yeah, it does. But Saris's expression warmed. It is all right. Your mind is not a problem. It is simply new. She raised her hand again. The blue light returned, gentler this time. Marcus felt the soft pressure again, lighter, calmer. This time, Saris only touched his emotions. She moved carefully, like someone learning a new musical instrument. The colors are still bright, she murmured. But I can follow them now. Humans feel many emotions at the same time. Joy mixed with fear. Worry mixed with hope. It is complex, but beautiful. Marcus breathed more easily. Thank you. When the link ended, Saris turned to the council. The humans are unlike any minds we have known. Their thoughts cannot be read easily. Their emotions cannot be predicted. But they are honest and full of energy. We have much to learn from them. The Illyrians nodded slowly, accepting her conclusion. Captain Reyes smiled at Marcus. Good work, Lieutenant. You gave them a show they'll never forget. Marcus sighed. I just hope I didn't scare them. Saris shook her head. No. You surprised us. But surprise is not fear. It is curiosity. And your mind has given us much to be curious about. As the human delegation followed the Illyrians deeper into the Crystal City, Marcus walked with a strange feeling, still embarrassed, still nervous, but also proud. Maybe messy human thoughts weren't such a bad thing after all. The crystal halls of Aloon Tor glowed softly as the human delegation walked behind their Illyrian hosts. Marcus Hale kept his hands folded behind him, trying very hard not to think anything too strange. He didn't want another Illyrian turning bright red because of him. But of course, trying not to think only made more thoughts appear in his mind. Don't think about the time you tripped in training. Oh no, now you're thinking about it. Don't think about embarrassing memories. Great. Now you're thinking of all of them at once. Marcus sighed quietly. Saris, walking beside him, gave a small smile. Sorry, Marcus muttered. No need to apologize, Saris replied. I am beginning to understand that this is normal for humans. They entered a wide chamber lined with long silver tables. Dozens of Illyrian scholars were waiting there, all wearing glowing robes that shifted in color as they moved. When Marcus appeared, several of them leaned forward with sharp curiosity. That is him, one whispered. The storm mind. The human. With no barriers. Marcus felt heat rise to his face. Storm mind? That sounded dramatic. Saris introduced him formally. This is Lieutenant Marcus Hale of Earth. He has agreed to assist us in understanding human thought patterns. Marcus had not exactly agreed, but he nodded politely. One of the Illyrian scholars, an older woman named Lyrae, stepped forward. Her eyes glowed gently. Lieutenant, may I attempt an emotional reading? Only with your permission. Marcus swallowed. Okay. Just go slow. Lyrae nodded and raised her hand. A soft pink glow appeared around her fingers as she touched the edge of Marcus's emotional field. Immediately, her eyes widened. Oh my, she whispered. Marcus tensed. What? What happened? She lowered her hand, blinking fast. Your emotions. They move like a river during a storm. They do not stay in one direction. They twist. They rise. They shift without warning. Yet somehow, you keep balance. Several Illyrians exchanged amazed looks. Another scholar stepped forward excitedly. May I try something? Only a light tap on the thought surface. I promise. Marcus sighed. Sure. But, careful, my brain doesn't behave. The scholar touched Marcus's thought field. Instantly, her skin turned bright red. She gasped and stumbled back. What was that? Marcus held his face in his hands. Oh no. What did you see? The scholar shook her head rapidly. Your mind jumped between 6 ideas in 1 second. Then, it created an imaginary scene, something about a giant sandwich chasing you. Why? Why would your mind do that? Marcus groaned. I don't know. It just does things. Random things. The room filled with soft Illyrian whispers. He imagines things he knows are not real? He can jump between logic and fantasy without losing control? How are humans not constantly confused? Saris cleared her throat. Humans do experience confusion. Often. Marcus sighed again. Very often. But Lyrae stepped closer, her expression thoughtful. Lieutenant Hale, may I ask, does every human think like this? Marcus shrugged. More or less. Some people think slower, some faster. But our minds usually jump around a lot. We daydream, imagine, remember, worry, hope often at the same time, Lyrae whispered. Incredible. Another scholar shook her head. Impossible. A brain cannot handle such chaos. NEM. A brain cannot handle such chaos. Marcus laughed weakly. Humans don't handle it. We just live with it. Captain Reyes stepped beside him. This is why human creativity is so strong. Our minds aren't limited to one path. The Illyrian scholars whispered among themselves excitedly. Ceres turned to Marcus. Would you let me show the scholars how your emotional structure looks? Only emotions, not thoughts. That's safe. Marcus said, relieved. Go ahead. Ceres raised her hand again. A soft blue glow surrounded Marcus like a gentle wave. The scholars watched closely. There, Ceres said. Notice the pattern. His fear, his curiosity, his embarrassment, they overlap. They strengthen and weaken each other. Humans feel layered emotions, not single streams. That is why their thoughts move so fast. One scholar gasped. It is like a prism of feelings. Yes, Ceres agreed. A prism that constantly shifts. Marcus wasn't sure if that was a compliment. But Ceres's voice sounded impressed. More scholars approached him, taking readings carefully. Each one reacted the same way: shock, confusion, amazement. One young Illyrian woman stepped back after her attempt, her skin turning a soft purple color, which Marcus remembered meant complete awe. Your mind is beautiful, she said in a whisper. Marcus blinked rapidly. No one has ever said that before. She smiled gently. It is true. It is wild, but bright. Still, Not every reaction was calm. A tall scholar named Wren tried to read Marcus's thoughts and was immediately overwhelmed. He staggered back dramatically, clutching his head. His mind, it jumps from memory to imagination to emotion. All at once. He looked around, panicked. How is this species not collapsing from mental overload? Captain Reyes chuckled. Humans are built tough. Saris gently helped Wren sit. It seems humans are naturally resistant to telepathic force. Their minds move too fast to be captured. Marcus frowned. Resistant? You mean like, you can't read us properly? Correct, Saris said. Your thoughts are like a storm of colors. It is difficult to grasp one piece without being pulled into many others. Several scholars wrote notes rapidly. So humans are unpredictable, one said. And unreadable, another added. And mentally powerful, a third noted. Marcus stared. Powerful? That was a new word. But the Illyrian scholars were serious. Saris nodded. Yes. Human minds are not weak. They are messy, yes, but strong. They change quickly, adapt quickly, and resist intrusion without training. Marcus felt his chest warm with a strange sense of pride. Humans, unpredictable and chaotic, were impressive to aliens. Saris turned to the council. We must adjust our study protocols. Human minds require gentler contact, and we must prepare for cultural shock. Their imagination alone can overwhelm us if we are not ready. Lyrae stepped forward. Lieutenant Hale, would you allow us to continue our studies over the next few days? Your mind may help us build new methods of safe, telepathic communication. Marcus straightened. If it helps our people understand each other, then yes. Saris smiled peacefully. Thank you. Your openness means much to us. As they left the hall, Captain Reyes lightly elbowed Marcus. You realize what this means, right? Marcus shook his head. What? Reyes grinned. Humans, the most confusing beings in the galaxy, just shocked the best telepaths alive. Congratulations, Lieutenant. If I Reyes, transtension. Marcus laughed weakly. I didn't mean to do that. Saris walked beside him. But you did. And it has changed how we see your entire species. Marcus glanced at her glowing face and saw only honest curiosity, not fear. For the first time, he felt proud of his messy mind. The next morning, Marcus Hale woke up in the Illyrian guest quarters, where the walls glowed softly like morning sunlight trapped in crystal. The room smelled like clean air and warm flowers, and peaceful music drifted from somewhere unseen. It was impossible to feel stressed in a place like this. Impossible, unless you were Marcus. He sat on the edge of his bed, rubbing his temples. Don't think too much, he told himself. Today you just have to sit calmly, while telepathic aliens study your brain. Easy. Then he laughed. Nothing about that was easy. Still, he dressed and joined the human team in the main hall. Captain Reyes clapped him on the back. Ready for round 2, Lieutenant? Not really, Marcus admitted. Reyes smiled. You handled yesterday well. Today will be easier. Marcus wasn't convinced. Soon, Saris arrived with 2 Illyrian scholars. Her glow was soft, blue, peaceful, steady. Good morning, humans. The scholars are eager to continue their research. Lieutenant Hale, we will take you to the resonance chamber today. End quote. Marcus blinked. That sounds safe? It is perfectly safe, Saris assured him. The chamber allows emotional fields to appear as visual shapes. It will help us understand your mind better. Round 8 and to indestim pace. Marcus followed the group as they walked through long, curved corridors. The walls sparkled like stars trapped in ice. The air hummed with soft energy. They entered a huge circular room. The center was empty, but the floor shimmered like water frozen in motion. Illyrian observers stood around the edges. ready to watch. Ceres gestured for Marcus to step into the center. Marcus snorted. "You're asking a lot." Ceres smiled. "Just be yourself." Marcus stepped onto the glowing surface. The air vibrated gently around him. Lights rose from the ground like soft mist. "Begin," Ceres said. The chamber activated. At first, nothing happened. Then, Marcus felt a light tug, not painful, just strange, like someone gently lifting the edge of his emotions. The glowing mist around him shifted colors. Blue for curiosity, yellow for excitement, green for hope, pink for embarrassment. Illyrian scholars watched in amazement. "Look how many emotions appear at once," whispered one. "No other species shows this many layers," whispered another. Marcus looked around nervously. "Is that normal?" "For a human," Ceres said softly. "Yes." Suddenly, the colors twisted and shot outward, as Marcus remembered yesterday's embarrassment. A giant swirl of pink burst out, mixed with bright orange confusion. The scholars gasped. Marcus groaned. "Oh no, it's showing everything?" "Everything emotional," Ceres confirmed. "Do not fear. There is no judgment here." But then something unexpected happened. The colors didn't fade. They grew stronger. They spun around Marcus like a living storm, swirling faster than the chamber could stabilize. The Illyrian scholars stared with wide eyes. "This is impossible. No mind should produce emotional shifts at this speed. His field is too active." Marcus felt heat on his face. "I'm trying to calm down." Ceres stepped forward, her glow flickering pink with concern. "It is not bad, Marcus. Just new. You cannot force your mind to be still. Human minds are not meant to be still." The storm slowed slightly at her voice. She turned to the scholars. "Record this. Notice how the storm reacts to external reassurance. Humans are deeply influenced by emotional support." The scholars nodded rapidly, taking notes. One pointed at the patterns. "His emotions are strengthening each other. Fear mixes with curiosity. Anxiety mixes with courage. It creates a cycle that boosts mental energy." One. Ceres looked thoughtful. "Yes. This might explain why human minds are resistant to telepathic pressure. Imbalanced emotions do not weaken them. They make them stronger." Marcus blinked. "Stronger?" "Yes," Ceres said. "Your chaos protects you. You cannot be read easily. You cannot be controlled easily." A quiet murmur spread across the room. One scholar leaned forward. "Lieutenant, may I ask, when you feel fear, what do you do?" Marcus shrugged. "I keep moving." The scholar wrote rapidly. "So fear does not break your will?" Marcus almost laughed. "No, fear is normal. We live with it." The scholars exchanged amazed looks. Another asked, "What about intrusive thoughts? Strange ideas? Unwanted memories?" Marcus sighed. "We get those too, but we ignore them, or joke about them, or let them pass. Humans deal with a lot of mental noise." Ceres smiled softly. "Noise that becomes strength." Marcus tilted his head. "Strength? Look," Ceres said, pointing at the swirling lights. "Your emotional field is unstable, unpredictable, and incredibly resilient. Illyrian minds crack when emotions conflict, but human minds adapt." The scholars stared. "This explains everything." "Yes. Their thoughts shift so quickly we cannot lock onto them, and their emotions support each other instead of breaking. Humans are the most mentally flexible species we have met." Marcus stood in the center, stunned. Flexible? Strong? Resilient? Those weren't words he ever thought would describe his messy brain. Ceres stepped closer. "Marcus Hale, you must understand your mind is not weak. It is one of the strongest types of minds we have ever studied." Marcus swallowed hard. "I didn't know that." That is because your people grew up with this ability. You adapted without realizing it. The room fell quiet. Then the crystal floor beneath Marcus showed a new pattern, a bright golden color, a sign of inner strength. Ceres's voice softened. You carry emotional storms inside you. But you also carry a stable core, a place of stubborn determination. Marcus blinked. Stubborn, yes. Determined, I try. You succeed, Ceres said. The scholars bowed their heads respectfully. Lieutenant Hale, one said, you have taught us more in one day than we learned in 50 years. You have changed our understanding of the mind. You have changed our understanding of humanity. Marcus stood silently, processing their words. He wasn't a great hero. He wasn't a genius. He was just a man with a messy brain who tried his best. But here, in this alien world, that was enough to make a difference. Ceres stepped beside him. We are honored to study your mind, Marcus. He gave a small smile. The chamber lights dimmed, signaling the end of the session. As Marcus walked out, the scholars watched him with new respect, not as a confused outsider, but as a representative of a species with powerful, strange, beautiful minds. For the first time, Marcus felt something warm and strong inside him. Pride in being human. The sun of Aloon rose like a giant pearl in the sky, sending rays of soft blue light across the crystal city. Marcus Hale walked beside Ceres toward the Grand Harmony Hall for the final session of their research. His steps were calm, but his mind, as always, was busy. Don't overthink, don't panic, don't embarrass yourself. Oh great, now I'm thinking about not embarrassing myself, which means I probably will. Ceres glanced at him with a small smile. Your thoughts are very loud this morning. Marcus sighed. They're always loud. I find it comforting now, she said. It reminds me that you are still you. He smiled at that. The Illyrians had changed over the past days, becoming warmer, more curious, more open, and Marcus had changed too. He was no longer afraid of being too human, but today felt different. The air outside the hall hummed strangely, like a quiet vibration running through the city. Marcus frowned. Do you hear that? Ceres's glow flickered. Yes, something is happening. Just then, an Illyrian guard approached, his skin glowing a pale silver of concern. Ceres, the council is requesting you and the human delegation immediately. It is urgent. Captain Reyes joined them quickly. What's going on? The guard took a deep breath. There is a presence near the outer border. A telepathic field we have not detected before. Ceres stiffened. A telepathic species? Yes, the guard said. And very strong. Marcus felt his heartbeat quicken. Strong how? They are scanning the planet, the guard replied, looking for mines. Inside the Grand Harmony Hall, the Illyrian Council stood in formation, their glowing robes shifting like the colors of deep space. Scholars, guards, and emotional interpreters gathered, speaking in anxious whispers. Elder Malus, the head of the council, stepped forward. Humans, we welcome you, but we must speak quickly. A telepathic species called the Corthali is near our world. They are known for overpowering the minds of others during first contact. We have little defense against them. Marcus felt a chill. You think they'll try to read everyone's minds? Yes, Malus said. Including yours. Reyes crossed her arms. If they try, good luck to them. Ceres looked at Marcus. Your mind may be the key to protecting us. Marcus blinked. Elder Malus explained. Your emotional and mental patterns are chaotic, unpredictable, and extremely active. The Corthali cannot handle unfamiliar mental structures. If they attempt to read you, they may be overloaded long enough for us to stabilize our own defenses. Overlungsar. Amen. E-Team 1. E-Team 1. Marcus stared. Wait. Are you telling me? You want them to read my mind? Ceres placed a gentle hand on his arm. Only if they attempt a mass scan. We will not push you. But your mind may confuse them enough to stop them. Marcus had been embarrassed about his messy brain his whole life. Now an entire species might depend on it. He took a deep breath. Okay. I'll do it. Saris smiled with gratitude. Moments later, the hall lights flickered. A soft vibration spread through the air like a distant whisper touching the back of everyone's minds. Malis raised her voice. The Corthali are scanning now. A wave of psychic pressure washed across the room. The Illyrians flinched, holding their heads. Their minds were sensitive, open, gentle. The Corthali influence pushed too strongly. Marcus braced himself as the wave reached him. A second later, he felt it like someone trying to open a door in his brain. Marcus, Saris called. The scan is targeting you. Marcus closed his eyes. Okay. If they want to read my thoughts, fine. Let them try. And he let his mind do what it always did. He let it run wild. The Corthali mind touch brushed deeper, trying to understand his thoughts. And then, everything went wrong for them. Marcus's brain exploded into action. Random memories. Song lyrics. A joke his friend once told. An imaginary argument he never had. A mental picture of a huge cat wearing sunglasses. Questions about life. Regrets. Dreams. A sudden craving for a sandwich. The fear of embarrassing himself. The determination to help. And more millions of tiny thoughts moving at impossible speed. A strange crackling sound filled the room. Illyrians gasped as Marcus's emotional field lit up the chamber. Not as a storm this time, but as a bright explosion of colors, firing in all directions. The psychic wave shuddered. Then it recoiled. Elder Malis stared in shock. The Corthali. They are retreating. Round. The Corthali. They are retreating. Saris's glow flashed bright gold. Marcus, your mind is confusing them. They cannot organize the information. Marcus felt the pressure weaken as the Corthali struggled to understand the chaos inside his head. Reyes laughed. Humans impossible to read, and impossible to control. The psychic wave snapped like a broken thread. And then, silence. The Corthali minefield vanished. Marcus collapsed to his knees, exhausted but unharmed. Saris rushed to him, helping him stand. Her skin glowed with warm orange relief and admiration. Elder Malis bowed deeply. Lieutenant Hale, you have saved our world. The Corthali fled the moment your mind overwhelmed them. Marcus blinked. I did? Yes, Saris said. Your thoughts were too fast, too bright, too unpredictable. They could not handle it. You showed them something they had never prepared for. Reyes grinned proudly. That's our boy. Humanity. Master of mental chaos. The hall filled with Illyrian relief and celebration. Scholars recorded everything. Guards relaxed. The council glowed in colors of peace. Saris turned to Marcus and spoke softly. Your mind is not a weakness. It is a gift. Marcus looked around at the glowing hall. The relieved aliens. The proud humans. And felt something deep and strong inside him. Pride. Not in being perfect. Not in being calm. But in being human. Saris stepped closer, her voice warm. You showed the galaxy the strength of your species. Chaos is not a flaw, it is power. Marcus smiled, feeling lighter than he had in years. Thank you. And thank you for helping me understand myself. The Illyrians bowed their heads respectfully. The humans stood tall. Across the galaxy, the story of the unreadable, unstoppable human mind began to spread. And Marcus Hale, with all his messy, wild, uncontrollable thoughts, became the first human known not for silence or discipline, but for the storm inside him. Humanity. F. Asterisk. Asterisk. Yeah. Asterisk.